Melanie Turner. I'm a programmer for the Blood and Snow Film Festival out of Toronto. And my guest today is Mr. Bill Moseley. So I think I'll start at the beginning, because you studied English Lit at Yale. So what prompted you to get into acting after studying English Lit? What path did you take to finally get into acting?
Well, first of all, hello everybody, thanks for showing up. And yeah, I was always kind of an actor. And, but I also come from Northern Illinois, from a Republican Railroad family. So acting wasn't really considered a potential career path. But my parents liked to act, and they did kind of impromptu plays in the living room. So I acted in school and everything. So, but when I graduated, I basically graduated as a writer and worked in advertising in Boston until my soul was, I was doing okay until they wanted me to come up with copy about Dunkin' Munchkins. I don't know if you all know Dunkin' Donuts. The Munchkins are like the little, they're like the little donut balls. And anyway, so I just, and I think I had gone cold turkey. I drank too much at a Boston Red Sox game, so I wasn't going to drink anymore. And then I kind of went insane and threw out a product that had sugar in it, and I was like crazy. And then I went into, brainstorm the Dunkin' Munchkins account. And all I could do was just stare at my boss and just about this. And finally, my boss looked at me and said, "Oh, Bill, what do you think?" And I said, "I want to leave." And I remember getting up and kind of walking down the hall, feeling his eyes on my back, like trying to pull me back, kind of like Orpheus, like ah. And I made it to the elevator, and I punched the elevator. Waited a long time. The elevator finally came up, and the door opened, and I fell in and pushed ground. And that was the end of that was the end of my advertising career. Dunkin' Munchkins did me in. So then I moved to New York City, and I was a freelance writer for a bunch of magazines. And I made a short film in the mix called The Texas Chainsaw Manicure, which was 5 minutes long. I wrote and produced it. Gave myself a cameo in it as the hitchhiker, because I was a big fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I showed it to a friend of mine who was at the time a screenwriter in Los Angeles, who just happened to have an office across the hall from Tobe Hooper. During the Poltergeist days, maybe 1984, and I showed my friend a VHS tape of the Chainsaw Manicure, and he said, "Well, why don't you give me a copy and I'll walk it across the hall to Tobe Hooper." And I went like, "God, wouldn't that be cool?" Thinking that if he liked it, then that would be cool. I didn't think beyond that. And Tobe watched it apparently. And apparently invited his producing partner Steven Spielberg in to watch the Chainsaw Manicure, and he liked it. And they especially loved my performance as the hitchhiker. And I got Toby's number from my buddy, and I called him up, and Toby said, hey, I love the Manicure. Who played the hitchhiker? And I went, well, that was me. And he goes, well, if I ever do a sequel, I'll keep you in mind. And 2 years later, the phone rang one night. It was a guy named Kit Carson who had written the screenplay. And he said, what's your address? I'll send you a copy of the script. Keep an eye on this character called Chop Top. And I was like, okay. Like, who is this really? Because it came out of the blue. And the script arrived, and I read it, and I thought it was hilarious. I loved the character Chop Top. It was like pretty awesome. And called Kit back and told him I loved the script. I'm just wondering, like, what is going on here? He said, well, we'll be in touch. Next call was from Canon Films legal department, asking if I had an agent or if I wanted to negotiate my own contract. And I had met an agent from William Morris at a Christmas party a couple months earlier, and called her up and said, hey, would you negotiate a contract for me? She said, sure, it's free money. And that's how I got the part of John Joe. So
Wow.
that's how I transitioned into acting from writing.
That like just is very